Welcome back to Bro Builds Garage. This is episode 2 of
Shop Talk.
My voice went weird.
That was me. I talked along with you. In this episode, we're going to talk about electric and hybrid trucks that are either here now and available to purchase or coming up soon in the future.
We are not going to go in depth with any of these trucks. We just want to give you guys a good overview and hit on some of the key features.
Yeah, like price, range, payload, towing, and whatever makes them unique compared to the other ones on our list.
The first one we're going to talk about today is a truck that I'm really excited about. It's the Rivian R1T, and it is such a cool truck. It's not a big truck you're going to haul stuff with. It's a truck you're going to go off-road and go adventuring in.
Isn't that kind of an oxymoron, though, that you're relying on electric charge to go out in the middle of the wilderness? That's the part that gets me about these adventure trucks.
Rivian, though, they actually want to have these stations.
I saw that.
So, like, say you're going down to, like, Moab. Well, they'll have a charging station. You'll charge up, like, at the base of the mountain, and then you'll just go adventuring.
Yeah, so they're building their own network kind of at the places that their consumers
Yeah,
will
like
want
an
to be.
adventure network,
Yeah.
which is really cool. So the Rivian ranges anywhere from 67,000 to 73,000. And then if you want the extended range battery, that's another 10,000 on top of
How
that.
far does the extended range go versus the regular?
The range is anywhere from 314 to 400 miles. 400 plus.
Did you say 314 miles?
You know, that's what the website said.
That's super specific.
It's very specific.
They're like, but not 315.
Now, as a truck, Rivian actually does really well, even though it's kind of a mid-sized platform, I would say. It has a payload capacity of 1,760 pounds and an 11,000 pound towing capacity.
That's amazing.
That's really good. And then one of the coolest features is the gear tunnel. So basically, between the cab of the truck and the bed of the truck, there's this gear tunnel. You can either just leave it empty. It's, I think, over 5 feet wide.
It's 11 cubic feet of space, which is awesome.
So you can put a lot of stuff in there. I think, like, I would be able to slide my snowboard in there. Like,
coolers, backpacks,
there's
suitcases.
even an outlet in there, so you can plug stuff in and charge it.
You could probably sleep in there.
But one of the coolest things is for an additional $5,000, because you're not paying enough already, you can get a camp kitchen that slides out, has an electric stove.
Didn't realize it was $5,000, but it is super impressive. So what would you rate this truck in terms of will it happen?
10 out of 10, because they are already being produced. In 2021, they wanted to produce 1,200, and they only hit, I think, like 680 or so.
Crazy.
They're definitely smaller time operation compared to like the big manufacturers like GM and Ford.
But at least they're doing it.
But they're doing it. That's exactly my point. They are being produced, and some people have already received their Rivians, which I think is cool.
So before we get to this next truck though, if you guys like this video, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. We want to make more of these videos for you guys, and it really helps us out when you do that. All right, so next up on my list is a really, really weird truck.
Is it electric or hybrid?
It is electric, and it will be in production by the end of 2023. It's called the Canoe.
I thought a canoe was a boat.
C-A-N-O-O.
Canoe!
Look at this truck.
What? That's not a truck. That's a van with a bed.
It looks like a Martian vehicle. Like it looks like
a van with a bed.
Well, it's because they started with a van. I'm cool with it because what they're doing is they're creating these vans for like fleets to do like shipping or whatever else.
This is a wildly interesting vehicle to me. Like, just look at it.
It looks like a shoe or something. I don't know.
It looks like something I would have made out of Legos.
And they've talked about camper editions too, where you can actually walk from the inside of the truck cab into the camper. So you go through that section right there.
How much is it going to cost?
Between $35,000 and $50,000. So you really got to love how it looks, because for me, that's too much money to buy a weird looking truck.
Is that true? Because you drive a Prius.
I love the Prius.
You spent some money on that.
Barely any. And here's the thing. This Canoe truck is just the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. It has a cool bed extender. So it has a 6-foot bed by default, but you can extend it out and it like folds and locks into place, which you need if you have an ugly truck. Now,
Man, I wouldn't even call it ugly. I would just call it like...
Can you imagine driving that thing?
Yes, it would be hilarious.
It's got a payload of about 1,800 pounds, which isn't a ton, but it's enough.
About the same as the Rivian.
It's literally not a ton. But here's what bugs me about it. It's only got a 200-mile range.
In my mind, anything less than 300 is just an absolute no-go.
Here's the interesting thing about Canoe. They have gone through a lot trying to get this truck made. They were partnered with this company in the Netherlands. They were partnered with Hyundai. They've had like 3 or 4 CEOs quit and leave. They've been investigated by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. But here's the thing. They've got money and they're building plants.
Are they local? They're here?
They're now here in the U.S.
So Dan, what do you think the likelihood is that this Canoe Mars rover, weird looking van truck is actually going to see production?
I mean, if they can sell their vans and make money from those, I think they're going to make the truck too. I give it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Better than a lot of these companies, honestly.
All right, Dan, it is time to talk about the Tesla Cybertruck. My initial reaction to the Cybertruck when it was first released, absolutely love it. Because to me, being an 80s kid, it looks something like it's straight out of RoboCop. And I loved RoboCop.
Or who doesn't want, Dark Knight Rises Batmobile of their own?
Here's what's crazy, is we were supposed to see production start at the end of last year. Definitely didn't happen.
Last year was a mess.
Now they're saying 2023.
Why?
Maybe.
Yeah, like they're just making it up.
Pricing and range information are gone off the website.
That doesn't seem like a good thing.
It does not seem like a good thing. If it actually comes out, it's a good truck. It's actually a really good truck as far as like trucks for truck people. You know what I mean?
It's a truck. It's a good truck for truck people. It's a truck. It's a really trucky truck. Let's talk about that truck.
It has good specs if you're looking for a truck that can do truck things. It starts actually at $40,000 and then goes up to $70,000. These are base prices.
Okay.
That's the triple motor.
Okay.
You add another maybe 12,000 for self-driving. You've got anywhere from 250 to 500 plus mile range.
Theoretically.
This is what we think we'll be able to do by the time it's being produced.
2025 at least.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Okay, what else?
It has a payload of 3,500 pounds.
Nice.
Towing capacity up to 14,000 pounds, which is fantastic.
That's a lot.
Yeah, almost as much as my Ram 3500. It's weird RoboCop. Obviously, the self-driving capabilities are awesome. And then I think the number one thing in Tesla's favor is they absolutely have the best infrastructure. I don't think electric vehicles are going to take off until there's better infrastructure.
What's the likelihood that you think that the Cybertruck will exist ever?
I say 5 out of 10.
Yeah, there's a lot that could go wrong. So let's go from that mythical, not real truck to one that I found, which is the sweetest looking truck I've ever seen in my life. But you know what? It doesn't exist.
Why are we talking about it then?
Because it maybe could exist in the future. But okay, so it's called Alpha Motors Wolf. Take a look at this.
Oh, I remember this truck. I've seen it at least once.
It is the coolest. I mean, it looks like something from the 80s, like Back to the Future. And I think it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. It doesn't exist. The company has 3 people in it, maybe. I mean, the founder is legitimately a car designer. He worked for like Audi and Lexus. He was like the lead exterior designer for the Lexus LC. Like, he's got chops.
Okay.
He's amazing. He makes some really cool design.
So is that a picture or is that just a rendering then?
So I think this is just a rendering, but they did make one prototype of all their cars, and they have a ton of cars that they claim they're gonna make at some point in the future. But this one actually is a prototype, and it was displayed at the Peterson Auto Museum. So it is in real life. One, and it's blacked out windows. There's nothing interior. I think they rolled it into place. The Alpha Wolf has a potential range of 275 miles, unknown payload, unknown towing, although they said 3,000 pounds of towing.
Oh, that's like nothing.
It's like 5'7", 5 foot 7 inches tall.
That's the weirdest way ever to describe a truck. So Dan, what chances do you give this of actually being produced in real life?
I give it like a 1 out of 10.
So Alpha Wolf.
Alpha Wolf.
So let's do a 180 from this truck that will likely never exist to a truck that, up front, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. This truck is gonna happen.
What is it?
We're talking about the Ford F-150 Lightning.
Well, yeah, it's a Ford.
So it's a full-size electric truck, starts at $40,000, which to me, I mean, that's like the bottom of the market for these fully electric, full-size trucks. So I mean, that's a good entry point for them. And then all the way up, the fully maxed out top of the line, 90 grand.
But you could pay for a truck today anyway. It's no different from any other truck you could buy right now that's a gasoline powered
You would be hard pressed to find a brand new truck for 40 grand. The range is anywhere, you're gonna like this, anywhere from 236, specifically is what their website said, up to 300 miles.
It's not bad.
So I saw 2 different payload capacities, 1,700 and 2,000 pounds. That's great for a truck that's not a heavy duty truck. It's got a towing capacity of either 7,700 or 10,000 pounds, depending on your specific model. What I really like about the F-150 Lightning is how it's just targeted to be a work truck. It's got some really cool usability features. It's got like 220 hookups in it, 50 amp, lots of outlets, so you can be like charging your batteries for your...
It's a mobile workstation.
It's a mobile workstation.
Drive it onto the work site, use it all day, and drive it home.
100%. And then, when you get home, if you have a power outage, You can plug your house into it, and it can be a power source for your house.
Well, where does it go? Oh, just your what do you call that thing? What do you call the electric box? Like flip the breaker, like the breaker box. That's where it would go, right?
What a cool feature. You've got this big old battery that looks like a truck. Why not use it as a backup source
like
for your
big
house?
batteries, and I cannot lie.
I give it a 10 out of 10. 100% it's happening.
It's not here now.
No, it's supposed to be available spring of this year, so just a few months.
That's awesome.
Ford is going to be producing 75,000 F-150s this year.
If you want an electric truck, you're probably going to get a Ford. They're pre-selling that and the Ford Maverick, which I want to talk about next. The Ford Maverick was the first, and it's not electric, it's hybrid, but still. It counts, yeah. I was so excited when I saw this Ford Maverick because it has everything I want in a truck.
How much does it cost?
This is a great question. It's $20,000 for the base model. $20,000.
That's crazy.
You can't get almost any car for $20,000, and here you have a hybrid truck that looks great. Honestly, the looks grow on me a lot. It looks a lot better than, let's say, the Jeep pickup, which I think is the ugliest way to have a truck.
What are some of the specs? Like, how much of a truck is this hybrid truck?
So it has a payload of 1,500 pounds.
Oh, that's actually
3/4 ton, not bad. It has towing up to 4,000 pounds. You do need to have their kind of upgraded all-wheel drive and a better engine, but for the price, it's not bad. And
yeah, if you're just using it for like pulling a little utility trailer, that'd be
right.
fun.
And then the other thing that's cool about this is it only has a 4.5-foot bed, which is rough, but it has a tailgate on it that folds down in different positions to allow you to haul.
And no trucks have tailgates that fold down. That's crazy.
Well, they all do, but look, this one is meant to let you kind of adapt and modify the bed.
And it stays tilted up a little bit,
exactly.
which is great. Did you talk about the mileage, gas mileage?
Oh yeah, it gets,
in range?
Of course it has a bigger range than some of the electric cars because it's a hybrid. It gets 500-mile range,
nice.
And it's like 42 miles per gallon in the city. And that's what I would use it for. I would drive to, let's say, Home Depot if they wanted to sponsor us, or if it was Lowe's, I'd drive to Lowe's. The thing is, I don't have to go very far with this truck. I just need to go to a place that sponsors me, okay? The nice part about this truck, beyond the price, beyond the size, which I like, is that it will fit 5 people and it can do everything you need around town.
That's super cool.
So for $20,000, I would buy this truck.
So what do you think the chances are that this is actually going to be produced in the real world?
I mean, it's here now. It's already here.
I knew it because I actually saw one the other day when I was at a restaurant.
Was it really short?
It was so small, you guys. It reminded me of those like old Datsun trucks that were so little and you like see them on farms.
I love it. That's what I want. The first ones were delivered in December of last year. So Ford is on it, guys.
They are on it. All right, so let's go from Dan's little tiny dream truck to just a big old monster of a truck. The Hummer EV.
I like the look of this one though. I mean, I don't like large trucks, but they made it look like the Hummer.
Yeah, the design language is there. It looks like a Hummer.
Which is good, because if you're buying a Hummer, you really want it to look like a Hummer.
Yes, because you're gonna be paying anywhere from $80,000 to $110,000 for this truck.
No, I'm not.
You're not, but someone out there is.
But are you gonna take your 80 grand truck really off-road?
If you get the Hummer and you don't take it off-road, shame on you.
Yeah, take it off-road.
So it's got some pretty decent specs, anywhere from 250 to 330 mile range. The payload and towing are a little bit lower, but in line with like purpose-built off-road trucks. 1,300 pound payload, 7,500 pound towing, which is, you know, relatively similar to like the Ram TRX. So it can crab walk, which is really interesting.
I think I've seen that.
The front and rear tires will turn together and the whole vehicle moves sideways. Like it's really interesting. Could be handy while you're off-roading. Maybe it's gimmicky. What it can do though, rear wheel steering. And what that does is it gives it the same turning radius as like a Chevy Aveo or something. So it has a really tight turn radius if you're using that rear wheel steering. One of my favorite features of this truck, which just seems really silly, but it has dynamic physical switches.
Break that down for me. What are those?
So you have these physical switches, which are becoming a rarity on modern vehicles, especially electric vehicles. So what GM has done in the Hummer, you have all these switches and there's a digital readout above them. So say you touch your seat heater switch, what it's gonna do is gonna pop out a little menu to the side. You're gonna have heat, cool. So then you can use either one of those buttons for heat or cool. Then when you go back, they go back to their original function. So each switch can become a different thing, kind of dive into a menu, but you still get your physical buttons, which I think is awesome.
What are the odds that this Hummer is coming out soon?
10 out of 10.
Oh.
So they actually started production last year. I actually saw some photos. The Hummers were loaded onto trucks being delivered to dealerships. So they're out there, they're in the wild, they're being produced.
And if you've got 80 grand, you could buy one. Okay, now I've got a question for you.
I've got a question for you.
It's probably the same question. Let's do it at the same time. If someone were to give...
What?
I'm taking, man. If someone were to give you one of these trucks on the list,
same question.
What truck would that be?
Man, I think, what would I take?
This is like somebody coming in, they're like, you can choose any of these trucks.
There's something about the Rivian that just, like the adventure vehicle, and like that one really, really appeals to me. So I think I would take the Rivian.
The Rivian is awesome. Here's the thing, I would probably pick, I know I've bagged on it a lot, but I would pick the Alpha Wolf.
I knew that's what he was
so cool, and it doesn't make any sense because it's not real, but if it could be real, for me, then I would pick that. It is the coolest truck.
Rivian for Ryan, Alpha Wolf for Dan.
Rivian for Ryan, Alpha Wolf for Dan. Guys, thanks so much for watching. We have got a lot more Shop Talk episodes coming up. They're all gonna be right here on this channel, Bro Builds Garage.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We would really appreciate if you guys would like this video, hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.